Shalom, giving all praises to Yahweh Shem Shabbat Shem Kakodash. Shalom to the hopeful left out there. And I'm going to entitle this video, This is Why GMS Doesn't Allow Women Inside of the Circle. So let's get right to it. This is what I want to do first of all. Woman scorn. Hell have no fury like a woman scorned. Definition and meaning. Definition of hell have no fury like a woman scorned. Said to mean that women often react to something which hurts or upsets them by behaving very angrily and viciously. Faithless husbands who doubt. Now, the law of the scriptures, and this country claims to be a, God-fearing. They use the word God-fearing, biblical. They follow the Bible Belt. The government, people that are elected to office, they swear on the Bible. They get their favorite Bible out there, their grandmama's Bible, and they claim, God bless America, so forth and so on. But the scriptures teach you, in the scriptures, in the law, about having more than one woman. So, in this backwards, fucked up society, that's why the Most High is going to destroy this place by fire. This place is going to be like I said in previous videos or in the past, America is nothing but a giant of 5,000 square foot altar that's the Most High is going to perform a burnt sacrifice on this place. And the animals that will be destroyed, that will be consumed by the fire of the Most High, are the nations, starting with Esau, the other nations. That's why this is a great melting pot. When you put everything in the pot, you can put that fire on there. The scriptures say in Malachi 4 that this place is going to be like an oven, an ancient oven, not a modern oven that can go to 550. I'm talking about an ancient oven that you put the bread in there for 2 seconds, you pull it out, you leave it there for 5 seconds, the bread is burnt, you got to throw it away. So this place is going to be like an oven, burnt sacrifice, and it can't come soon enough. These devils got to hurry up and push that charagma, the MOTB out there. That's why we keep speaking about it, because that's going to be the game changer. They push that MOTB out there, everything gonna move lightning fast. When they make that thing mandatory, that's going to be a test of faith to the Israelites. That know that the Israelites and the rest of these people, they don't know what's going on. They're going to get caught up in it. So the ones of you that fail that test, because it's going to be short. We're not going to be here for the next 10 years starving to death. When they make that charagma mandatory, you can't eat, you can't go in the stores, you can't do nothing, you can't buy or sell. So you can't, you can't go to the gas station unless you got a charagma. It's going to affect you across the board. I don't know exactly how it's going to be because it hasn't come yet, but we have an idea. But I would say this: when they make that thing fully mandatory around the planet, I used to say 3 months. It might be even a month. The testing period might be for a month. Everything's going to speed up. As soon as that's what we're waiting for. That's what we're waiting for. For this man to make the charagma mandatory, the MOTB mandatory. So, and we know we're going to praise the Most High on that day. Even if some of us got to be put to death. We're going to praise the Most High, because you get put to death, you're going to come right back. You're going to come right back anyway. When this place goes down, you're going to be resurrected, along with Abba, along with Mashar, along with Yaquab, along with other brothers that are part of the faith. So don't worry about it if you get your head chopped off, you know. But I'm going into something else. But anyway, let me get back into this. We're the only camp that teaches that, and we're going to keep teaching it, no matter what the other camps say. Some of the other camps teach it. You know, Sakari teaches it. Others don't really teach it. They don't push it, and they really come against what we're saying. But that's going to be the great testing. So, you know, what matters is when it comes, are you going to finally see it and say, oh, GMS was right, I'm not going to take it? Or you're going to, you know, go into a campaign of you scared to get a needle, you scared to get and we're going to laugh at you. We're going to clearly laugh at you. And I'm going to say this too, and the best way I can say it, hood style, fuck the 2/3, fuck all you motherfuckers. You know, fuck my favorite cousin, my favorite uncle, fuck all you niggas that ain't in Israel, that ultimately take the chip. And we really gonna say fuck you when you take that chip, when you get that karagman. That's what it all boils down to. Reality is gonna hit you right in the face. All you guys have been bucking up against the great millstone camp, you know, about the karagman thing. You're gonna have to make a decision. And if you ain't right, and if you're not of the elect, you're gonna fail. You're gonna line up, and you're gonna take. Hey, you might have two camps fighting over who's gonna get the chip first. So we're gonna see. It's gonna be a game changer. Trust me. So let me go back into this. Said to mean that women often react to something which hurts or upsets them by behaving very angrily and viciously, fatherless. Hey, that's why Paul said it's good not to even have a woman. Fatherless husbands who are faithless husbands who doubt, and ain't no such thing as faithless. That's this fucking society. And see, our women, they grew up under that same spirit as Eve in the garden. The serpent got to her. See, the serpent didn't go to Adam. The serpent went to Eve because she was the weaker vessel. She was mentally and spiritually weaker. So, you know, our women been in this system, society since slavery, so they used to it. They kind of doing pretty good. You know, they got the good white girlfriends, and some of them get with Edomite men, and they really believe this place is free. They don't understand. They don't see what's coming down the pipe. So it says, faithless husbands who doubt that hell have no fury like a woman scorned should read Telex Warner's novel, Love with Vengeance and Beware. Love with Vengeance and Beware. So, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to let you hear this from Vocab Show. This is fair use, fair use, fair use. Okay, so you got this guy. He's Jake, which he's down with Vocab. These two women right here, they had husbands, let's say, that were part of the IUIC. That's why I gave the title what I gave it, you know, concerning you shouldn't let women in your circle. You know, like the mobs and shit. And the mafia guys, they don't let their women know that they're, you know, they don't let them in the meetings and all that. They do their thing. They do their man thing. You know, that's what anything. You know, you got a circle of, let's say, men. They have what they don't involve their women. They don't even tell their women what they're about. So that's, you know, the ones of you that come in the become a part of the GMS. You you know, this is none of your woman's business, man. It ain't none of your business. So don't bring her in the first place. Now, if y'all both coming together, y'all watch the videos, y'all both get into it, and you come in, that's good. But guess what? The woman stays at home. The best thing for them to do is to stay their asses at home. And if they have questions, they might watch videos. They have questions, they ask their husbands at home. That's what the Apostle Paul said. Because there was a big mess with the Apostle Paul in the church of Corinth. And they were having women, he had to say, look, women are not supposed to be over men. Women are supposed to be silent. There was a lot of things on women. So he had to cover that because you had, remember, those Gentiles in the New Testament and the book of Corinthians, during the time period of Corinthians, when he's dealing with the Corinth and the other Galatians, and any place you find the word Gentile, and the Gentile receiving salvation, as we went through this before, they were bringing their Gentile, their Greek, mainly Greek, Hellenized ways, their customs, the food that they eat, the clothes that they wore, the things that they did when they were Hellenized, and they were coming out of that Hellenization, coming back to being Israelites as we have today, because we still eat American food and Chinese food or whatever. We still, Jake that's into Israel, they still watch the Super Bowl, the NBA playoffs and boxing, which is not a part of ancient Israel. We didn't have, these sporting events. We just lived, you lived, you made money, you dealt with your wife and your family, your children and so forth, and you went to war, and you kept the high holy days. We didn't have no, who gonna win the big fight, Errol Spence or Terrence Crawford, you gonna get hyped up. So we got that culture, that American world culture still in us. So, when the church of Corinth, when the men and the women came to this thing, they had women that had positions over men. Paul said, nope, a man's got to be over a woman. And women are not supposed to be in any high position of government or just read the whole, First Corinthians, Second Corinthians. Just go through that. Matter of fact, I should go through that whole thing myself, because there's a lot of information in there. But one of the things was they had women that had positions over men, and that they were teaching, and even going into the scriptures, they were teaching the scriptures. So Paul said, no, women can't do that. And then he goes into the covering. If you pray or prophesy as a man, don't wear a hat, don't wear nothing on your head. Women, when you prophesy, meaning you see a vision, you got to put the, you're among men, you put the veil on, covering on. And then it says, it goes into hair, about long hair. Now, when you go into the whole thing about, which Jake has the dreads, and half of their hair is a dread, the other half is an afro with a damn mohawk in it, long as hell, with extensions in it. A lot of these Jake men with the long hair, a lot of them got extensions in their hair, because that goes back to the Greeks. When you go back to the Hellenized young Israelite men, the young men had the long hair, the long plaited hair, which showed you that those Greeks back then, we all saw the movie 300, they were all Jakes. That's why they had the beard. They had the long beards, the bushy beards, the long hair. And so Paul had to say, look, you men, the reason why he's made that statement about men having long hair is because all those men had long hair. So he said, look, you men got to cut your hair. You're not a woman. It's a shame for a man to have long hair. And then when you read that passage, when you read the next verse down, it said, this is not, I'm merely paraphrasing, this is not among other custom among the other churches. They don't do that because they were the Church of Corinth, the Israelites of the Church of Corinth that came out of that darkness. They were heavily, influenced and followed the Hellenistic ways. Paul probably had to tell them. Well, he did. He had to tell them. He said, "Look, you can't be eating pork. You can't be eating this. You can't be eating that." So he had to raise them up. Paul made a statement. How did he say it? I'm merely paraphrasing. I watch over you with godly jealousy. So in other words, Paul took the position like he was God over the people because he knew the truth. He knew the Lord. He knew the Lord more than the apostles because he was trained to know the Lord. He was an expert on the Lord. He was a Pharisee of Pharisees, he said. So, one of the things that Paul said was about women, that women are not supposed to have position over men. Men's not supposed to have long hair. Goes into the whole thing about the covering. And then the thing about having an unbelieving wife or a woman having an unbelieving husband. If a woman comes into this truth, I'm going back 2,000 years. She came into this, she was learning. She had a husband that didn't believe. Like when you go back to Timothy's father and mother, Timothy's father was a Greek, meaning he was an Israelite. He wasn't a white man. But, he was an Israelite that he said, look, I'm following the Greek way. I'm following the Greco-Roman way. The Greco-Roman way. Because Rome adopted a lot of things from the Greeks. That's why you have Jupiter. Jupiter is the Roman equivalent of the Greek god Zeus. So the gods that the Greeks had, the Romans had the same gods but with different names. That's why when you go into the history, the Greco-Roman history, because a lot of the things that the Roman Empire did, they got it from the Greeks. So coming back to this, when you go to 1 Corinthians chapter 7, Paul speaks about if you have a woman that's an unbeliever, what do you do with that? Because I guess the question came up. Well, we got. I believe in this, but my wife doesn't believe in it. So Paul said, "Well, look, if she pleases to dwell with you, then dwell with her, because who knows? She might come around, and it applies to women too. Another thing is, a lot of these guys, they'll get a woman that coming to the truth, start coming to the classes, they get familiar with the people in the classes or whatever, the congregation, but their husband is a Muslim, so he never comes around. So you don't encourage a woman to leave your man and get with a brother, no, because that's adultery. You're pushing adultery because the man is still living. Same applies with women, a woman to a man to a woman. So now these women, she did a video before. I believe her and her husband came in together, and I believe they believed that they were Israelites, and she was disenchanted or whatever the case may be. I got to watch that. And then this woman right here, she was with her husband, high school sweethearts and all that. And he started watching the videos. He became an Israelite. So he came home and like basically said, okay, you got to be an Israelite. And she wasn't having it. So he left the woman, and they have 2 children together. You're gonna hear it when I click the play button. Because these women are out of order. They're completely out of order. Their minds are fucked up by slavery. Like I'm thinking of the movie Roots, when this guy Kunta Kinte, he gets with the woman, I forget her name, but they had a daughter, Kizzy, and he was still, I got to go back to Africa. He's secretly praying to his God and all this. And she was like, she was born a slave, right? She was born a slave. So they fell in love with each other. So he was trying to push that comedic stuff on her. She said, I ain't having that bullshit. Don't be bringing that comedic shit to me. Because she was Americanized. She was a good slave, you know? And a lot of these niggas was happy to be slaves, especially if you was a house nigga. You love master more than master. Master loved himself. So the Jake's into that mentality. They're still slaves. Who made that statement? Uh, what's her name? They made a movie about her. Not Nat Turner. It was a her. I can't even think of her name. Damn. I can't even think of her name right now. She was called the Underground Railroad. Can't even think of her name. Damn. I can't even think of her name. It'll come back to me. But you know what I'm talking about. Um, I'm trying to, boy, I hate that. I hate that, man. I'm getting old. That's what that means. I'm getting old. Damn, I can't even think of her name. Harriet Tubman just came back. Harriet Tubman, she made a statement. She said, I freed, she gave a number, I freed 1,000 slaves. And she said something to the effect of, I would have freed 10,000 more if they believed that they were in slavery, meaning they think they're free. They were happy being under master. Because those are the ones that were born into slavery. There was a point where they stopped going to Africa because they had enough slaves. They had, look it up, they had breeding farms. You would get the strongest buck and the strongest woman, healthiest woman, and you would force them to have sex with each other. There was a lot of adultery going on forced adultery under the white man. That's why, see, this Esau is the Edomites, that's the only nation that's going to be annihilated from the planet Earth. So if this guy's an Edomite, and I believe he is, you better hope he's not, he will be no more one day. One day he'll hey, Job, you know, the one that's seen him will see him no more. I'm merely quoting, paraphrasing Job 20. The the rulership of the hypocrite is but for a moment. I'm merely paraphrasing. So if this guy is an Edomite, he's going to be gone. He's going to be done away with. You ain't going to see no more Edomites. And the Most High is only dealing, the flock of my pastor are men. The Most High is only dealing with men. So if you have a woman that believes in the truth, she ain't to come to the Passover. Look, did Peter's wife come to the Passover? No. Peter's wife had to keep the Passover if they had children or whatever, by herself. You know, he was with the Lord. So anyway, let me do this. Let me let you. And see, this is a grave mistake. There's a major mistake when you allow women in this thing, because women. There's an old saying. It's a woman's prerogative to change her mind. Now, my old girl back in the day, we went out of the country, right? But we had broken up. He said, "We breaking up. I don't want to deal with you no more." And but we had set up a thing to go down to Mexico. We went to Mexico back in '87, right? Got the tickets and all that. So I said, "Well, I'm gonna turn in the tickets. I'm gonna get my money back." She said, "No, we still going." I said, "I ain't going to no motherfucking Mexico. The fuck I'm going to Mexico for with you? We ain't with each other no more. Well, come, let's just go on down. Come on, let's just go on down there anyway." I said, "No, I ain't going." And if she said, "Come on," I said, "All right, we'll go. Fuck it, we'll go." Went to Mexico. The first thing we did, um, we went. Oh, she said, "Oh, we're gonna have to have separate rooms." So we went down there. They said, "Oh, we only got one room. Y'all got to stay in the same room." So we, did what we do. And then I said, "Wait a minute. I thought we were broken up." And then she said, "It's a woman's prerogative to change her mind." Now, why would you trust a fucking woman on any level? It's a woman's prerogative to change her mind. Can a man say that? Huh? There's all kinds of precepts coming out right now. Audium et montabile semper femina. A woman is a fickle and changeable thing. So you can't trust these women. The Most High called men to this truth. And you're going to have some women that's going to come in, but the Most High is dealing with the men. He set up the 12 disciples that became 12 apostles. They were men. Like the picture of the Last Supper, I believe that's either Leonardo da Vinci, or I believe it was Leonardo da Vinci that did the Last Supper. And you got women in there. And that was the Bourget family. You know? So anyway, let me let you hear this. And I'm gonna give you a couple of precepts. So listen up.
Peace, man. Grace and peace to everybody. You know, just hearing stories like this breaks your heart, but it continues to show the wickedness of the camps. But
the wickedness of the camp. Everything we do is a day doesn't go by unless one of the camps do something wicked. The wickedness of the camp. And you notice how this nigga took the broad brush, and that applies to everybody. See, GMS does that to their women. Look, if I got a woman, my woman don't know nothing about the truth. It's none of her fucking business. All right? Hey, when a woman gets together with their girlfriends, they do their little thing. They ain't none of my fucking business. I mean, I make it not my business. Okay, you getting with your girlfriend, your aunt, you'll go on to see the movie, go ahead. Yeah, bye. Need a couple extra dollars, bye. I'll see you later. So this nigga right here, and this, see, like I said early in the video, I said fuck the 2/3. When the Most High start judging these 2/3, we're gonna do that count. What you know? Who's the next nigga 2/3 that's gonna be put to death? Fuck them niggas, man. I don't give a damn if it's your favorite uncle or your favorite cousin or your mama. If your mama don't make it, hey, your mama don't make it. If the kids don't make it, your kids don't make it.
For us to continue to spread the gospel despite what's going on. So I love the bravery, but my heart breaks for situations.
100%. Now, what I'm going to do, guys, is I'm going to switch over to two-person view for now, for the whole time. And so anytime you want to say something, you can go, hey, I'll switch it over again. But if you want to listen for now, you can mute yourself, but you don't have to do that here. Switch it this way, so your face can be seen. All right. Are you ready to tell your story?
Let's do it.
Okay.
So she didn't accept it from the jump. Her husband accepted it, but she didn't accept it. She wasn't with it. There's a saying, ride or die chick. That means she'll ride or die with you. That means she's with you 100%. And women get with men. If a woman gets with a man and the man allows a woman to lead, that's in the Apocrypha. If she maintains a man, she's angry. I'm not going to go to it. Somebody can put in the comment section. You following her. She's saying, where you want to go, what movie you want to see, whatever you tell her, whatever movie you want to see. She's following your lead. He doesn't do anything unless he gets approval from his woman. Trust me, she gonna leave you. She gonna leave you. See, a woman want to play a game like she's in control, and you show her that you're in control. She gonna love you for it, even though it starts off she wants to be, And that's why when you deal with a woman, man, the Apocrypha says that if she will not go the way that thou would, give her divorcement and let her go. Just let her go. All right. Now the Lord said the only way you can let her go is for fornication or adultery. She commits adultery, then let her go. Now the Lord says to put her to death. So this woman right here, this Israelite sister right here, she never came into the truth. You know, she been with this man for a number of years, as you're gonna hear, and he came into it and she wasn't feeling it. Now there's a precept I'm gonna read in a minute, Ruth chapter 1. And back in the day when you got married, back in the day, they put in that the husband has certain vows. The husband take for certain vows that the woman take, and the woman would have to say something to the effect, "I will follow him, I will obey him." Or there was a song, "I will follow him." These women are completely out of order. They're out of order, man. They're completely out of order. So if she doesn't change, which I don't see her changing, she's gonna wind up taking the charagma and she's gonna die. And then she's gonna have to come back. That's a reset. That's the Most High's reset. If you can't make it, the Most High is gonna destroy you, but you're gonna come back as a newborn baby. And when you come back as a newborn baby, you ain't gonna buck up against the truth because we're gonna be in the kingdom. So let's listen on.
Tell me how you met the man who eventually got involved. Let's see, it's not a soap opera show, but let's get some background here.
So me and my kid's father, we went to school together from middle school all the way through high school. We pretty much grew up together. It wasn't so much. It wasn't until our senior year of high school that we actually got together. And we were together from our senior year in high school until this past last January. Well, somewhere around last year when he first joined IUIC. So that's how we met.
And give me not, I'm not, we're never trying to get anything juicy or salacious. That's not really, any relationship history that you think is relevant to what we're going to discuss tonight that you want to share.
As far as
well, you and him relationship, for example, you know, 3 kids together. Anything like that, you know, good, bad, just.
I hope you can hear this. I hope you can hear this. I'm right about the 8 minutes in, 8 minutes, almost 9 minutes in. So if you can't hear it, just you can come back and listen. But it sounds clear on my end. So.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, we have 3 kids. Well, we've had 3 kids together. Our first child was that pregnancy ended in a stillbirth. I almost lost my life delivering our first child. Then we had a little girl, and then another little girl. So we've had 3 kids together. And as far as they, you know, they're blessings. You know, they're my babies. But yeah, we were together from senior year in high school, and then we split up right before my second daughter was born. So she just turned 1. So that gives you some timeline. And he's been into IUIC for about a year and a half now.
Okay, so it's been about a year and a half. How was he introduced, do you know, to IUIC?
Yes. So I was about 6, maybe 7 months pregnant with my second daughter, and me and him were having some issues, and we had to split up for a month. And in that month, we had minimal communication. After the month was over with, it was around Christmas time. He came back around, and he started, you know, showing me these videos. You know, he's talking about, hey, you know, I want you to watch these videos. I found these men, you know, that's preaching about the stuff that I have been talking about and been looking for some time. So he had been looking into, said he wanted to learn Hebrew. He seen what I didn't know then, but I know now, was some Hebrew Israelites debating on Facebook on a video. And that pretty much got him onto that idea. So he went, you know, down this rabbit hole about how some things have been hidden from us, kind of the conspiracy theory idea. And yeah, so that's how it all started. So he was working for this moving company, and he was moving this guy's house who was a pamphlets, you know, he sees all these shirts and fringes, you know, he's asking him these questions about it, and he pretty much brought him into that idea. So he brought it home with him. He was really excited about it. Me, from the beginning, when he came about it, I wanted to be supportive. I didn't want to, you know, she was so excited about it. I didn't want to shoot him down. I wanted to be supportive. So right off the bat, I told him, I was like, you know, I don't know about this. If you want,
She said she wanted to be supportive. So why didn't she go? She wanted to be supportive in the beginning. So that's that spirit of a woman that's supposed to follow a man. I wanted to be supportive. But when she saw maybe she saw a video of an Edomite woman getting cursed out and that messed with her heart or whatever. So initially she said she was kind of with it because she was following her husband. So that shows you the disorder of our women. That's why here at GMS, we don't have no, we got women that follow us, you know, they watch the videos and that's it, man. We don't be having no get-togethers and circles and bring the sisters and bring your wife and your daughter. Because what comes out of that? Wickedness, man. Ultimately, adultery.
he said how he said it was he was trying to learn history. He just wanted to learn history. And, you know, I was under the impression that that's all it would be. I didn't know until later on that it turned into something a lot more. So he said he wanted to learn the history, and next thing I know,
like Kente Kunte's wife, the mother of Kizzy, she said, he started talking that, you know, that Hamitic stuff or Hebrew. It was really Hebrew. She said, don't give me all that bula stuff. I ain't no African. I ain't no African. That's what this reminds me of.
He was talking about going to visit the camp. And from there, it was downhill. Everything kind of went on.
Well, wait a minute. Why didn't you continue to support him? That's what you said. That's what you said. I'm going to support him. But something clicked and you said, I don't want to support him no more. So you full of shit. Let me give you a preset real quick. Damn, where the tabs at? Okay, let me do this. I got to cut some of these tabs down. Come on now. The book of Ruth. Ruth 1. And by the way, since we're speaking on Ruth, Babe Ruth was a Dominican. He wasn't a white man, he was a Dominican. Okay, so okay, Ruth loyalty. Let's start from the 14th verse. And they lifted up their voice and wept again, and Orpha kissed her mother-in-law, but Ruth clave unto her, and she said, behold, thy sister-in-law is gone back into her people and unto her gods. Return thou after thy sister-in-law. And Ruth said, entreat me not to leave thee or to return from following after thee, for whither thou goest, I will go, and where thou lodgest, I will lodge. Thy people shall be my people. Where thou diest, will I die, and there will I be buried. The Lord do so to me, and more so if aught but death part thee and me. Like back in the day, they used to say you are husband and wife until death do you part. Where you think they got that from? Now, you know what I'm gonna do? Let me do this. Let's just see what the commentary says. Bear with me for a minute. Bear with me. Okay. Just want to see what this says. It's going to kind of go into this. I want to get the short version. Because so this Matthew pulls. I renounce those idols which my sister have returned to, and I will worship no other God but thine, who is indeed the, the only true God. It says, "And thy God, my God, not chemos." That right there proves that she was a Moabite that wanted to follow the laws and the statutes. Because the god of the Moabites are Chemos, the chief god of the Moabites, and Bel Peor, nor other gods of the Moabites. So ultimately, she was following Israel. Let me do this. Bear with me for a minute. See, this goes into Naomi and the love and the, you know, let's deal with what is the wedding vow in Ruth 1:16 and 17. So that Ruth 1:16 and 17 or 16 is used. They used to be used when I was a kid. It was a part of a wedding vow. That's why I said, "Do you promise to obey and all that till death do you part?" They got that from the book of Ruth. It said, wherever you live, I will live. Your people shall be my people. She was a Moabite though, and your God will be my God. Two, when, whenever, wherever you die, I will die, and there will I be buried beside you. A man and a woman, right? They when the, like let's say the woman dies first, they put it in the plot. Then her husband dies maybe 10 years later. They put the man right next to the woman, or vice versa. You beside you, we we shall be together forever, and our love will be the gift of the Most High. What does the threshing floor symbolize? Ruth or in Ruth, the threshing floor in Scripture is a place of separation and revelation, a place where the harvest was prepared by separating the grain from the useless straw for the purpose of exposing the collecting the most valuable part of the crop. Now, in slavery, when they allowed slaves to get married, they would have a broom, right? As they jump over the broom of matrimony, what did the broom represent? It goes back to the separation of the threshing floor. That proves we're Israelite right there. But Ruth replied, "Don't urge me to leave you or to turn back from you. Where you go, I will go, and where you stay, I will stay. Your people will be my people, and I'll be buried where you buried." Right? What is a marriage vow before the Most High? Take you, I take you to be my wife or husband, to have and to hold from this day forward, for better, for worse, for richer, for poorer, and sickness and health, to love and to cherish, till death us do part. They got that from Ruth. According to the Most High's holy law, in presence of the Most High, I make this vow. Now, part of the vow, like I said back in the day, was the woman had to obey the husband. They took that out. What breaks marriage vows? Infidelity, which is adultery. And our Lord Yahweh Shai Hamashiach said, the only way you can leave your wife is if she commits adultery. So let me come back over here. So you can go back, and she said when he first got into it, she said I'm gonna support him. So that's what she was supposed to do as a woman. She's supposed to follow the man. That's why this society, look, when you get married, a woman name, last name changed to a husband's name, right? That goes back to take away my reproach. So everything that Esau does is based upon paganism, but is also based upon the scriptures. So it's a mixture of the scriptures and these pagan rites. So she was taught, she watched movies or mother, whatever, pretty much taught her to follow your man. That's your man. You got to follow him. You got to support him. Whatever he does you got to support him, man. Hey, this guy, Sugar Ray Leonard, when he fought Hagler, he said, "I'm gonna beat Hagler," which he didn't beat him, but he fought a good fight. He didn't beat him. Hagler won that fight. But you niggas out there, Hagler won that fight. Hey, Hagler even came to the camp one day, and my brother, he's in the spirit world. He ran into him. He said, "Oh shit, I ran into Marvin Hagler." And then the first thing Hagler said, that was years after the fight. He said, "Man, I won that fight against Sugar Ray Leonard." But anyway, Sugar Ray Leonard's wife, this is why they broke up. Sugar Ray Leonard's wife said, "Marvin Hagler gonna kill you. You're gonna lose." And he remembered that. Now, if you watch that fight, they gave it to Sugar Ray Leonard, right? And his wife came up to kiss him, and he kind of pulled away and like looked at her like "fuck you, bitch," because she didn't support her man. She didn't support her man. She said, "Oh, Hagler and his wife, they're such nice people." And Floyd and Sugar Ray said, "Look, Hagler's trying to knock my head off. He don't give a shit about me." But anyway, I digress. So she said that she supported him. I'm going to support him. But then she said, "I ain't with this shit. No, I ain't really with this shit." That's why you got to be careful with these women out here, man. Got to be careful with these demons, man. They're all demons. That's why the Apostle Paul said what he said. If I wish all of you can be like me.
In the perfect chronological order. He went to the camp one time, and from then he came home a completely different person.
Really?
Yeah.
So when you say camp,
well, I hope that's for the good. He came back home a completely different person. That's in the scriptures. The scriptures speak about a new creature. So there should be a change. A lot of you come into this thing and you ain't changed. You that grimy nigga on the street that come into Israel, you put fringes on, you that same grimy nigga from the fucking hood. There's got to be a transformation. Now, what's that? Let me do new creature. New creature. Not new creature feature, but new creature. See what comes up. 2 Corinthians 5, verse 17. Therefore, if any man be in Yahushai, he is a new creature. Old things are passed away. Behold, all things are become new. There's a transformation. Galatians, let's see what Galatians 6 and 15 says. For in Yahushai, for in Hamashiach, Yahushai, neither circumcision availeth anything, nor uncircumcision, but a new creature, So that situation with IUIC and ICPK, and I'm gonna say both of them are wrong. I did take the side of IUIC because they didn't it was more men of IUIC than ICPK. I took this side because they didn't beat him up. They didn't get physical with him. They held him down. But if it's true, um, if ISUPK was there before IUIC and IUIC rolled up and put the speaker in their direction, that was wicked as hell. So them guys didn't come in as new creatures, man, on Yahweh Shai. Scriptures say, be harmless as wise as serpents and harmless as doves, man. You are sheep in the midst of wolves. Okay? That's what the scriptures say. But I took the side of IUIC, but guess what? They both wrong, because guess what? ISUPK is guilty of that too, because they came up on one of our camps, and even brothers out there in LA said that they roll up, try to do that shit in LA. So both of them are fucking wrong, man. Like I said, in that situation that took place could have been avoided, because I know they didn't set up both at the same goddamn time. Somebody was there first. If ISUPK was there first and IUIC rolled up, that's some old bully tactic bullshit, man, because they had a lot of men. If there was two IUIC guys that were little small guys, weak guys, do you think they would say, well, let's set up a... No, it was a whole bunch of them, man. That's why we say the Most High is going to destroy both of them groups. Real talk. So let me come back here. So bottom line is, she said she supported him, and then she's like, I ain't having it no more, which was completely out of order.
Do you mean the school, or do you mean out on the street camp?
The actual school. He went to the school.
So he went on a Saturday and let them do the pat down and gave him his ID, whatever, protector, whatever else they do.
Yeah, he said they made him put on his chapstick before he went in.
Wait, what?
He said that they made him put his chapstick on before he went into the school.
Okay. These brothers are worried about chapstick bombs or what?
I don't know. And they made his dad eat a piece of his sandwich before he went.
Okay. So I know this is real life people. I'm not even trying to laugh. So I always hear something new when I learn about these groups, right? Listen. So that's new. Having to eat a piece of your sandwich and putting on your chapstick. That's a new one to me. You know, sometimes you wonder if they're that paranoid or if they're just trying to flex from the jump. You know? And they're like, well, brother, we need to make sure it's a ball, not a bomb.
Right.
I mean, they think he's James Bond. He's got a blade up in the
I was trying to figure out what the chopstick was going to do. I'm like, I think it's a laser or something. Like, I didn't understand.
Sandwich has got a blade in it. Eat that sandwich. Chew. Okay. I'm sorry. Wow. Actually, anything else you got like that, I do appreciate. Because you know what? I do want to be serious for a minute about that. You know, everyone, why is that? I'm going to tell you why that is real quick. It has to do with the whole overall parameter of this religion. It operates out of fear. These guys will say they're strong and brave, and as we have seen, they can't put people in headlocks and all that, okay. But ultimately, it's from a spirit of fear. Christian church, with all of its weaknesses, you don't got to do your ID right up.
So, vocab just said it. He said Christianity with all its weaknesses, and they got a lot of weaknesses. So he just said, well, so if they're so weak, why don't you go after your fellow Christians? The scriptures speak about what is that, Matthew 7, about taking the beam out of your eye before you take the mote out of somebody else's eye. You're trying to take the mote out of our eye, and you got 3 beams in your eye. That's further the hypocrisy of Christianity.
Radar, I'm sorry, not radar, but metal detector, pull what's out of your pocket. It's not, we're not TSA, body cavity searches. It's not happening.
That's why another thing about them schools that you got a big building, you don't know what people are coming up in there, man. And we go out on the highways and the byways simply because the scriptures tell you that, which a lot of these leaders don't even go out. They send their men out there. The scriptures speak about setting an example, being an end sample to the flock. So if people that came up under us go out there, we got to go out there too. There's no scripture where it says if you do 20 years on the highways and the byways, you don't have to do no more time, but let your people come in there. And when they hit the 20-year, it doesn't say that in the scriptures, man. It doesn't say that in the scriptures. We go out there, and if you want to watch another thing, you have people come on the comment board of various videos, IUIC, ICP, or whatever. Oh, y'all got to come out here to, Nutbush, Alabama, and set up a camp. Well, wait a minute. You can watch it on the, YouTube. If the spirit hits you and you're learning, you can be the guy that set up that camp. In Matthew's 10, it's about 25th verse, 22nd verse around there. It says, we shall not cover all the cities. I'm merely paraphrasing until the Lord comes. Meaning if you try to go to every place where Israelites are at, by the time you won't even hit half of the places, you won't even hit 10% of the places before your house shot come. So what is what thing is doing the heavy lifting? The web. So the classes are the web. I'm doing this video right now. They're putting up. You got an opportunity to put up scriptures and comments on the chat, a premier chat, and then after the video ends, you can put comments on the comment section. So that's a class. So we don't need no class no more.
Because it's not operating out of the spirit of fear. But these groups operate out of the spirit of fear. And so that sort of hyperactive sense of being afraid, that's why sometimes they act overly aggressive. So it's like preemptive. But okay, I just want people to know there's a real element to things like that. So I feel like, the fact that people are willing to put up with something like that, just to kind of get this little bit of this juice, this pseudo knowledge, basically, is fascinating. So he brought his father. Is his father into this now too?
No. So his dad just went with him kind of to just be supportive. We wanted to see what he was excited about, so he agreed to go with him the first time. But no, his dad doesn't agree with the beliefs. So he just went that one time.
Fascinating. Yeah, fascinating. Okay, so you're saying after one time, Alyssa, he goes and comes back a different person?
Yes. So when he first started talking about, this stuff and showing me the videos, the one thing I told him, I was, I want to be supportive of you. If you want to learn history, I'll support you. All I ask is that you don't force anything on me and the kids. And
bingo. We got to hear that again. We got to hear it again. She made it that she doesn't believe in this, but she's still going to support the man. Let's listen to that again.
So when he first started talking about, this stuff and showing me the videos, the one thing I told him, I was like, I want to be supportive of you. If you want to learn history, I'll support you.
If you want to learn, I'll support. I'm with you. I'm with you. As your wife, I'm with you. I'm supporting you. I'm behind you.
All I ask is that you don't force anything on me and the kids.
And IUIC can correct me if I'm wrong. From what I've been hearing, I'm hearing it from her and other women, former IUIC members, that like I said, they can correct me. All they got to do is put up a video saying, "Well, Tahar, we don't do that." But I've been hearing it a lot. So, like I said, I'm not there. I don't go to their classes, nothing like that. Um, so matter of fact, let me listen to that one more time. I'm sorry. Let me listen to that one more time.
The one thing I told him, I was like, I want to be supportive of you. If you want to learn history, I'll support you. All I ask is that you don't force anything on me.
IUIC should say, teach if you have a woman, you can tell her that you're an Israelite and so forth, and kind of show her things, see if she's open to it. But don't be surprised if she doesn't accept it, because the Most High is dealing with the flock of my past are men. That's what Ezekiel said. So if she don't accept it, she may accept it, and then the number one scripture to go to, 1 Corinthians chapter 7. It speaks about a man and a woman. That whole chapter is dedicated to a man and a woman, and that this when you come into this truth and you become a man of the Lord and you're a teacher, that your first priority is this truth, even over your wife. Using the world but not abusing it. And they that have wives be as though they had none, meaning your first priority is this truth. Also, it says, if you have an unbelieving wife and she be pleased to dwell with you, then you dwell with her. So you can, and then it mentions about the children, and for the sake of the children, and for the sake that y'all might still have love for each other. Then the Lord even said, if you put your woman out, she's gonna move, and she's an unbeliever, she's gonna move on with another man. So you cause your woman to commit adultery. You cause her to commit adultery because that man you're still living while she's with another man. So that's why we say IUIC goes off. That's the main thing they go off on. You can't force your woman to come to this thing if she don't believe it. The scriptures speak about believers compared to unbelievers. It said, Paul said, if they ignorant, let them be ignorant. That's what the Apostle Paul said. I believe that's 1 Corinthians 14. If round about the 34th verse around there, if they be ignorant, let them remain ignorant. That applies to your wife. If they can't see it, then you just move on, but you deal with her for the sake of your children, for the sake of the love that you have. So they're clearly going off on that. From what I heard, like I said, you can correct me and say that's not true, but I'm hearing it from these women. That's what they're saying. People are saying the 6-month rule. If she don't accept this thing in 6 months, then you got to cut her off. Well, I got 5 children. Well, I hope they're not saying don't support your children. I'm pretty sure they're not. But then it makes it a court battle, a court thing, because she's mad and he wants the kids and she wants the kids, and you got to go back and forth to court. And if you're late on the payment, she can hit you for, you can be helping her, and they say, well, you ain't paying her enough. You got to pay her more because you got 5 children. And so you got to live in a separate house from her. So you got to pretty much pay your bills and then take care of part of her bills because you got children with her. So that's a whole messed up situation. Like I said, you come into this truth as a man. Our focus to men. Like a sister walk up, we're going to spend time explaining shit to us. And we ain't going to waste time explaining shit to the sister. Now, if there's a woman that comes and really wants to listen, we'll show her something. But our main thing is the men. And not just the men only, but the men of the elect. If a man takes to us a certain way, hey, let's say we're teaching this dude, and he pulls out a Newport, and then we'll tell him, look, brother, could you put that Newport out, that smoke? Oh, he's, man, look, nigga, I can do what I want to do. You already know the nigga ain't one of the elect. And you're looking for him to walk down the street, or you might have to close up. And like I said, IUIC and ISUPK, whoever was there first, the second group that came in started that whole, they really started, they ignited the fuse. So that was fucked up. That made Israel look bad. Let's listen to some more.
The kids. And he's like, okay, I understand. But then, he goes to the Sabbath and he's getting all of this pumped in his head about how women aren't to wear pants, women aren't to do this, women aren't to do that, and blah, 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 whatever else they said.
Yeah, because first of all, she's an unbeliever. She might be eating pork. She's an unbeliever. Look, when either it's Lois or Eunice, the mother and the grandmother of Timothy, I believe it was Eunice that was married to the Greek, the father. Guess what? That father, Timothy's father, was probably eating pork and all that, probably praying to some Zeus, and Jupiter and so forth. So she didn't say, well, I'm leaving you because you don't want to wake up to the fact that you an Israelite. So if they're saying, James, you're forcing it on the woman. She said, I support you, but I'm not following this. 1 Corinthians 7, it said, who knows, O man, whether thou shalt save thy wife, or to the woman, who knows, O woman, whether thou shalt save thy man.
And literally, like the next day, he came home and we were walking our daughter around the neighborhood, and he flat out pretty much called me a whore for having.
There was one video, if somebody find it, send it to me. To the effect of the title, it was IUIC. If you have more than one woman, if you have 5 women, 4 of them are hoes, something to that effect. There was an actual video they put up. So they put it in his, they indoctrinated him into, if she's wearing pants, she's a hoe, which means she's dipping out on you. So they put that shit in these people's minds, man. Like I told the brothers, I said, look, don't bring your woman around me. Don't say, well, I need you to anoint my woman. I mean, that happened. The only time, well, shit, one time that happened, we went out to Texas. Ariala, which is the second elder of the Dallas camp, he had we were staying at his house, which his wife was there, but she went with some other sister. She stayed there, so the house was given to us. It was just brothers up in there, right? And when we were leaving, I met his wife, and I met his 2 children. They were young. The daughters, she probably got to be 20 years old or something like close to it. She's a grown woman, and the son is a teenager, but they were kids. And so we anointed the children and we anointed the wife, and that's the only time we did that. That one time, because they were there. We anointed them, man. But don't be bringing to her. I'm bringing my woman and my wife, and I want you to anoint them and this, that, and the third. Let's listen on.
Gym shorts. They were kind of like the yoga shorts. We were walking around the neighborhood, which I had always done. We'd always walk our daughter together. And he was telling me, hey, you're gonna have to burn all of those pants and shorts. And I'm like, wait a minute. We just talked about this. You agreed not to force anything on me and the kids, and now here you are doing just that. So that's how it all started. And still, then I didn't realize the depth of what he was getting into until it got to the point where he was probably like a month in, and he started talking about changing his name. So he wasn't there long.
Legally change your name to some hillbilly Hebrew. I don't know. It was a lot. They back shit 6 months ago. They had hillbilly Hebrew names. So now General Nathaniel, does he got to change his name again because he went back to the Lashon Kodash? He no longer deals with the hillbilly Hebrew.
Has he changed his name?
Yes.
It's not.
You know what cuts that? That whole name changing thing? Let's go to the precept. Romans 16. Romans 16. Greetings and love expressed. Now, if you read this and you don't have the understanding, you're going to say, well, these are all people of other nations. You can tell by their names. One was actually named, I believe it was Herod, is it? Herod. Give me a second. Okay, I found it, but I lost it. Let me do this. Okay, bear with me for a minute. Okay, Paul salutes Herodian. Herodian. These are all Greco-Roman names. Rufus. Phoebe. Priscilla and Aquila. Aquila is, I believe, is Greek for eagle. So let's look up Herodian. Narcissus. Herodian. So you had an actual Israelite named Herodian. Let's see what that means. It means heroic in the Greek. Herodion. Herodion. And it comes from the root word is Herod. Herod, the name of a royal family that flourished among the Jews in the time of the Messiah and the apostles. Herod the Great was the son of Antipater of Idumea. So they're telling you that the Herodians are Edomites. And no, the Edomites are still here. They're in control. That's a top nation that's in control. So the word Herodian, which was one of the believers that followed Paul, that Paul saluted, his name is based upon Herod. Herod means heroic or hero. So when you read the whole chapter of Romans 16, 1 on down, that all the names mentioned there were Greco-Roman names. So when did Paul say, okay, you got to change your name to a Hebrew name?
It is interesting though, the name change thing, because a lot of cultic groups they'll do it under the pretense for something else, but basically it's one more way to strip down your identity. So they remove your old identity, and notice how superficial it is.
Well, that's the change. That's the change. Did not hold up? Did not Peter? Did not our Lord rename Peter? He was Simon. He called him Peter. Moses, second in command, which was Joshua, Joshua, which is Yahushua, the name that was given to him at birth was um, not Yahshua, but Hawashai or Hoshua. You say it that way, Hawashai, and it was Moses that said, your name is now Yahawashai, which means He deliverer. Your name is Joshua. So here you got a vocab saying changing somebody's name is wicked. But like I said, Paul didn't make them change their names.
It's a name change.
Oh, wait a minute. The angel of the Lord changed the name from Jacob to Israel. So what did the Lord do? He was stripping down the identity of Jacob? No. He gave him a more powerful name. So this devil will find anything to use to, make us look negative. Oh, they changed it. They tell them to change their name. That's wicked. That's a cultic activity. So guess what? I guess the angel that wrestled against Jacob, I guess he was part of an occult.
It's not actually a new heart. It's not being born again. It's not regeneration. It's these superficial things. Malcolm X, right? And of course, the Moors Bay.
See, he wants you to be Toby instead of Kunta Kente. Boy, your name is Toby. So this devil right here, he wants you to keep the name Toby. He wants you to keep them slave names.
And then you've got son of Israel. You the last name a lot of times, something like that, Ben Israel, whatever it is.
Yeah, we say Ben Israel because we found out that we were Israelite. And in the ancient world, when you saluted and you got blessings, you would say your name, your father's name, the tribe, your name, your father's name, the tribe, the Most High's name, and now we say Yahweh's name.
It's not the end of the world, but it just signifies a lot of times a deeper problem because it's like when you don't have your identity firmly rooted in Christ, you reach and grab for these external, superficial things to rearrange and change your identity. But ultimately, it's about an internal change.
So, in other words, we got demons on us because we call ourselves names that our mother didn't give us or our parents didn't give us.
That only the Holy Spirit can provide when He enacts upon a person's heart and enables them to be born again. Just what Jesus was talking about to Nicodemus in John 3. Were you at any time sort of evangelized in the sense of, hey, you need to make sure your faith is in Christ, or was that already assumed that you had that? Like, was that ever part of a discussion with the IUIC influence? Like, are you trusting in Christ to forgive your sins, or have you been born again, or anything like that? Do you ever remember anything like that?
No. I remember him telling me that I needed to change my last name to Israel, because he said my last name was my slave holder's last name, and it got to the point where it got so bad to where he's never met my father. I don't really deal with my father, but it got so bad to the point where he would question me almost daily to find out what ethnicity my father was. He had to know if my father.
Yeah, because he might be an Edomite. He might be a Moabite. Yeah, they fucked these guys' heads up, man.
He was going to stop dealing with you if your father was a nation. Right. Did you know what he was fishing for?
No. I thought that I had an idea because he kept saying that you are what your father is or whatever. He kept saying that. So he was trying to find out whether or not my father was white, but at the time I didn't know it was because he was plotting to pretty much walk away if my father was white.
Wow. talking to Alyssa, that's her IG handle. She was in a relationship, essentially like what would be a fiance type relationship. I don't know what they call it, borderline fiance, something like that. But
Gonna have Israelites that look just like Edomites. So how you say, well, your father looks like a Edomite. What is his father? Well, he never met his father. He was adopted or whatever. So you don't know if the guy is Irish, Italian, small hat, whatever. So you got to go by the spirit. So there's going to be people that's going to look completely different from an Israelite, but are actually Israelites. So you got to go through the spirit.
for their kid's father, had children together, a long-term relationship as far as them even knowing each other. And IUIC came in and affected him, which negatively affected their relationship. And we're talking about the day. And on the panel, we've got a brother who's an evangelist and apologist, has went to the streets, went to the camps there in Detroit, and had them closed because of COVID. We've also got Bree on with us as well, who has a somewhat similar story to Alyssa. I want to allow you guys some time to react and talk to her, and then I have some more questions I'm going to ask her. But shout out to Jay Fry for the super chat, by the way. I appreciate your support. That's the first super chat of the night. But Bree, I'd like you to chime in if you could.
Yeah.
Well, anything to add that's similar that you hear, that you see, or anything that you want to ask Alyssa, either way?
I think from what you've said so far, it's a lot similar to how things kind of started with Cornelius. It started with simple things like changing dress or like.
See, these two women, these two sisters, they're Israelites, appear to be Israelites. They're suffering from Stockholm syndrome. You know, you've been in captivity for so long, and this man, you know, the old saying, if you can't beat him, join him. So they're gonna run. They're gonna run, like the song in the movie Bodyguard. I wanna run to you. Whitney running to the fucking white man. You know. So they run into this guy. They're all these niggas, man. They come out of Israel. They're gonna run right to this guy right here. You know, the Lord of Doom.
He said
when the Most High takes him out, we're gonna have a celebration. You know, if the Most High takes this guy out, you know, he chokes off a chicken bone, or he gets struck by lightning, or he strokes out, or whatever the case may be. We're gonna have a happy day. That's gonna be a happy day. You go back into the history of Nicanor. What's the other one? The day of the Nicanor and I can't Simon. They go into that history in the Apocrypha. You know, when these Edomites got prominent Edomites got put to death, we praise the Most High. So we're gonna praise the Most High. That's the day when I'm gonna say shalom to all the other camps out there. A day of peace among all the camps, because it is this essay right here.
The whole name change. Cornelius never officially changed his name, but he still goes by the last name Israel, even though it's not officially his given last name. But pretty much everything you said is literally what happened with Cornelius as well. So my question to you,
was he checking up on your dad too?
No, he knows my dad very well. So
okay.
He knows my father is a black man.
So by the way, both of these women, either they not one or two things. They either celibate, they don't deal with no man or woman, nothing like that. They don't have no sex, or they moved on and they got men. So guess what? That's adultery. That's adultery. These two, the men of these women, they cause their wives to commit adultery. That's in the scriptures. That's in the scriptures. If you put her away for any other cause except the cause of adultery or fornication, you cause her to commit adultery. So they moved on.
But as far as everything else, like, Alyssa doesn't know the vocab, he didn't allow our kids to like play with the neighborhood kids because they were white or anything like that. So the racism was there as well.
Well, that's the American way, being racist. This country was founded on race. The foundation of this country is racism, man. That's a video right there. The foundation of this country, of this great country, this wickedly great country, is based upon racism. What made this country great and rich? The slaves. That was a racist act. But see, when you bring up precepts like, Isaiah 14, 1 and 2, Revelation 13, 9 and 10, just to name two scriptures, or quote two scriptures, vocab, that doesn't mean that. That means something else. Yeah, because that doesn't mean that in Edomite, there's no such thing as Edomites anyway. So we cool. We don't got to worry about going into captivity. If you're any other nation outside of Israelite, you're going into captivity. And if you're an Edomite, you better hope like hell you're a fucking light-skinned Hamite. Because you ain't going to catch hell like an Edomite. So you better hope that. But I pray that you are Edomite.
But my question to you, Alyssa,
you can work with Esau, but you can't play with Esau. Go ahead.
Right. My question to you would be,
let's see what this sister MJ. I'm so sorry to hear she is going through this, but trust and believe this is protection. Living with a BHI male is like being in prison. Well, guess what? You're in prison right now.
How has that affected your relationship with him now? Like, are you guys still together, or now? Are you in IUIC? You're not in IUIC, right?
No. I've
So,
never
is he okay with that? And like, how has that affected his relationship with the kids?
So, mind you, he joined the camp probably a year and a half ago. I was about 6-7 months pregnant, and because of what happened in my first pregnancy, my pregnancies are very, very high risk. I'm not allowed to be, I'm not supposed to be stressed. I'm not supposed to allow my blood pressure to get too high. And here he is, storming the house, all types of riffraff, and it was a very stressful environment. And it got to the point where, at the time, I was the one paying all the bills at the house. You coming in pretty much trying to take over everything, and I didn't like that. Especially being that I was the one providing for all of us. So
if a woman maintain her man, she is. Matter of fact, let me see if I can get that. Let me see if I can get that. If I'm not mistaken, it's in Ecclesiasticus, I believe 26, if I'm not mistaken. I'm writing this. I'm maintain. Maintain. Let's see what comes up. It came up the first one. A woman, if she maintain her husband, is full of anger, impudence, and much reproach. So you can see the look of anger in her, like, I'm paying for the bills and this nigga trying to tell me what to do. And don't get with a woman that makes more money than you. She's gonna throw it right in your. If she makes $1 more than you, she's gonna throw it right in your face. I'm going long, but come on now. That's not it. Yeah, what the hell happened? Okay, we found it.
It was really stressful. I was pregnant, about to have the baby, and he was just causing so much strife in the house and so much contention, and it just I couldn't be at peace at home. So eventually, what happened was, one morning I woke up and I was about to get my daughter's breakfast ready and everything, and he decided to get up and was like, "Hey, get her dressed. I'm taking her with me today." And I'm like, "Taking her with you where?" He's like, "I'm taking her to camp with me." I was like, "No, you're not." That was he had already known how I felt about my daughter going, and I told him no. He's like, "No, you're not." And he's like, "Well, he's like, I can."
Taking her to camp. Well, I don't know what that means. I don't know if she's gonna hold posts with the fringes. I don't know. This guy, Crimson Hulk, all external changes for the world to see that fill the flesh, no change of the heart. All right, thank you for your kind words, sir.
Take my daughter with me if I want to. So from then he left, and at that point,
She said try, but in her mind was try it, nigga.
my blood pressure was sky high because at this point I can't trust the man to respect my wishes and personal time. So
She didn't say our child. So this relationship was doomed from the beginning, you know. And then she said she had high blood pressure. She had high blood pressure because of fucking diet. I wonder what would happen if Nathaniel would repent and turn to Christ and become a Christian. The whole IUIC would fall. He ain't gonna. Trust me. Nathaniel, he's not gonna become a Christian. These people are fucking out. They fucking Christians out of their fucking mind. They all belong, and they'll just make a big prison, a big 1,000-mile square prison. Just put all these Christians in it in the fucking straight jackets and feed them prescription medicine and applesauce all day. Them Christians are bug outs.
I called his mom that day and I was just like, "Hey, I can't do this. Like, I can't do this right now. Like, it's stressing me out. I'm not supposed to be stressed. I'm not supposed to let my blood pressure get to where I'm about to have this baby. I can't do this right now."
Historical icon. And you notice these are our women. These your women are not with you. They're not with you. They're not ride or die with you. They all start with videos. The sad part about it.
So what happened was, they lived like 5 minutes away from me, and I talked to his mom, and she pretty much helped me get his things and bring it to her house. While I was pregnant, it was too much, and I couldn't risk what happened with my first child happening again.
Another one. These are all your sisters. Let's let the sisters. I want the sister to learn. The sister ain't gonna learn a motherfucking thing. D knew their conspiracy theory, hyper danger bent. Boy, when the Most High start taking you Christians out, oh, we're gonna love every minute of it, because there's no hope for y'all.
So from then, he was back at his parents' house, but the problem with that was he was away from all responsibility. He was no longer doing anything for the children at all. And he wasn't doing much.
I'm surprised he's not in GMS. It sounds like a bum to me. She was paying all the bills, and he was, barking out all the orders, not working. What's going on, man?
When he joined IUIC, because he was always so consumed with IUIC. Like from the moment he joined the camp, or the moment he visited the camp, now every day he's doing these Zoom calls when he gets off of work. He's on the Zoom calls for about 2 hours. I've already had my daughter fed, bathed, and in the bed. He's not spending any time with family. Every free moment he has, the weekends he's going up there for the Sabbath. So we hardly ever seen him. He wasn't doing much before, but after he went back to his parents' house, he stopped taking care of my daughter altogether. I would ask him, I was about to have the baby, so I put my oldest daughter in daycare. And I asked him, I'm like, hey, I'm about to put the baby in daycare, so I won't have 4 kids by myself during the day while I'm trying to cope with the.
What's up, Minister Chris? There's a guy asked him a simple question, and he's sick. All these Christians on me. Let's have a debate, man. You don't know what you're talking about. I asked him a very simple question. I said, how in the hell can you get 3 days and 3 nights out of Friday to sundown? And this man, his top, he blew his top. You Christians are easy, man. That's you want to mess a Christian's head up. Ask him, how can you get 3 days and 3 nights from Friday to Sunday? It's humanly impossible. Christians can't count.
And I asked him, I was like, can you help me out with the daycare? If you could just pay half, that'd be a big help. He told me, his exact words were, I don't feel like I should have to pay anything because you can keep them. Those are his exact words to me. And from then, I just didn't say anything. I never asked him for another dime. Like I never asked him for a dime at all. I would tell him what the kids need. He would either refuse or he would tell me he'd do it and then never did. So my next step was going to file for assistance, child support. And that opened a big can of worms. He did not like that. So what happened was when I put him on child support, he became very angry. He was really upset that I put him on child support. It was all about, you got the white man in our business and this and that. Mind you, he hadn't been taking care of the kids. I had been fully taking care of them financially and physically by myself. He wasn't seeing them. He wasn't trying to see them. He wasn't checking on them, nothing. What ended up happening was after he moved back to his parents' house, eventually, I was in the hospital I was having some type of complications with my youngest daughter. I was in a lot of pain, and I called him, and he didn't answer the phone for me. So at the time, my grandma is at home with my oldest daughter, and I called him because she has to go to work, and I'm like, hey, can you go home? Can you go to the house and get Gayla? I'm in the hospital. I don't know if I'm about to have a baby or not, but I'm in a lot of pain. I called him crying. He didn't answer the phone, so I called his mom. She gave him the phone, and he's like, where's your grandma? And I was like, she has to go to work. Right. So I was like, she has to go to work. And he's like, well, I'm tired. And I was like, so are you not going to go get her? He said, no. I said, okay, and hung up the phone. So after that, I ended up having the baby. I did not contact him. I didn't tell him anything until after I came home from the hospital with.
That's why the Apostle Paul said what he said. If you have a woman that's unbelieving and she pleases to dwell with you, then stay with her. Who knows, old man, whether thou shall save thy wife.
So from then, he came over, he took a couple pictures, and he didn't try to see her again after that. By then he was knee deep in IUIC. So I couldn't get him to help me with the kids. I couldn't get him. He just completely neglected the kids altogether, physically, financially, everything. So when I put him on child support, that he didn't like that. And what happened was he went almost.
I hope that's not an Edomite baby. I hope that's not an Edomite, baby.
Year without doing anything at all for her children, and I mean nothing. Like from last June all the way till I think this March, February, he did absolutely nothing for our kids. He barely seen them. He didn't ask to see them. My youngest daughter is 1 year old, and I can count on probably one hand how many times she's seen this man.
Yeah.
He's yet to do anything for her. So as far as his relationship with my youngest daughter, he doesn't.
If you have a question for one of the guests, please highlight question, then ask, and possibly down the track, vocab may put your comment on screen.
He doesn't have one at all. My oldest daughter, he was around for the first 8 months, 8, 9 months. She was a baby. She knows her dad and she loves her dad, but he doesn't. He refused to do anything for them. He refused to see them. What he told me was if he couldn't take them to the camp with him, he didn't have to see them. That's exactly what he said. So it's definitely had a negative effect on his relationship with his kids, as well as our relationship together.
Well, that's true. Sister MJ, as the name goes, she goes into worse than if she doesn't take it a household worse than an infidel.
And I can relate to that. Cornelius has not seen the kid. He's seen them once since the separation, and that was kind of like that was what a couple months ago. I decided, our kids haven't seen you in over a year. I now have your address because he had refused to give me the address after he moved when we got here to our new home. So after he filed the divorce complaint, I had his address because his address was on the divorce complaint. So me and the kids drove the 6 hours all the way to Pennsylvania to see him, knocked on his door, so he could see his kids. He was not happy at all to see us, and he told us, I don't know why y'all thought this was okay. Pretty much told us, I'm not allowed to see y'all, and y'all need to go.
I hope the leadership didn't tell them don't see your kids. I can understand your wife, but your kids are your children are your children. So I like I said, IUIC got to come back and do a response to this video right here. So they making from what they're saying, they're making IUIC look really, really bad. So, and this guy's loving this devil right here is loving every minute of it.
So it was the middle of the night. It was like 11 o'clock at night. And I told him, we're not going anywhere. It's the middle of the night. I don't know anybody else here. So we ended up staying. He woke us up bright and early the next morning. Was like, y'all got to go. So my kids got to see him for all of 10, 12 hours, including sleeping. Other than that, he has not made any effort to see them. He has refused every effort I've made for him to see them, including driving all the way there, meeting me halfway, meeting me at his dad's house, his mom offering to be there as a mediator for all of us to go together for breakfast. And when we first got here, he didn't help out at all either. It wasn't until he was ordered by the court to pay child support that he started to help because his court ordered. He don't really have a choice. Right. Other than that, he told me that he's not allowed to be involved in our kids' lives because they're doomed to hell because they are being raised Christian.
They're doomed to hell, which they teach that in other words, his daughters, his former wife, this sister right here, their children, ultimately they're gonna all burn in hell. Like even if the destruction came and they all died, even their kids in the scriptures and the law speaks about coming up under the covenant, right? Which means when you're 12, you're under the covenant. Under 12, you're not under the covenant. You can't expect you know, a 1-year-old, 2-year-old baby to understand the Sabbath and the high holy days and calling on the name of the Most High and keeping the law, statutes, and commandments. You come up under the covenant when you're 12 years old. So for him to say they're all condemned to hell, first of all, the hell doctrine is a Christian doctrine. When you burn in hell, there's no such thing as hell. The word hell translates into the word in the Greek Hades, which means the pit. So there's no such thing as a eternal hell. Because that's Christian dogma. That's right. I said dogma. Because either you would believe it or don't believe it. If you question it, they'll kick you out.
So I can 100% vouch for what you are saying. I don't at all think you're lying.
Did he actually say hell?
Yes.
So that's interesting because I've heard some things about IUIC maybe adopting some version of hell.
Well, he's coming around to you. They're coming around. Pretty soon they'll all join you. They're all going to come together of a rainbow of wickedness. But that's good. I give this devil a hand clap, you know, a pat on the back. He said, "Did he say hell? They're teaching hell is a place." And I heard about it. Yeah, you heard my video when I went into it that they teach that there's an eternal hell. Clearly not of the scriptures. It's not scriptural at all.
Which would be a departure from historic One West. Unless he means hell in some kind of figurative sense, because a lot of the Hebrews are like groups of One West variety don't believe in hell like an eternal conscious torment. They believe in an everlasting kingdom. And
exactly. Well, we know, we confirmed it. There's videos on it that there is the IUIC. I don't know when they started teaching that. The IUIC, from the leadership on down, teaches that the lake of fire is eternal hell that you burn there. 1 trillion years from now, you're gonna be pop locking in fire. 1 trillion years. 1 trillion years, you're gonna be a 2 trillion, 5 trillion, a quadrillion years, 1 billion years. That's you just warming up. I mean, every day, 7 days a week, you're just gonna be burning. How stupid is that? But they do teach that, and I did confirm it through some certain videos. They do teach that, which is clearly something that he did not learn from the One West. Now, High Priest Shai used to sneak it in there all the time, and used to always get cut down.
and for the nations who will be subservient, they're going to be there in the kingdom with them, except for Esau, who's vanquished after 1,000 years. But they don't have any concept of hell. I see GJC towards the end of, well, actually before the end of his life, but during Tazaki's tenure, started embracing hell. I wonder if IUIC.
Yeah, because it's a Roman that they were slowly bringing in a Roman Catholic doctrine.
He has as well.
That's why the Most High took Tazadaki out. He ripped him out the frame.
The fact that he would say that. Yo, Dez, been here for a minute. Haven't got to hear from you. You're hearing the discussion. Some people were asking why we're doing this discussion. What's the point of the show? What's the purpose here? Dez, what is the purpose of this show?
I mean, it's to continue to, highlight and expose the darkness of cults like IUIC. What I find to be interesting is that you have men in IUIC, apparently, that they won't take care of home, but they'll take care of Nate's booster club, right? But on top of that,
most of these people that are following this devil are nothing but Jake men and Jake women. So fuck these niggas.
It's crazy to me that a group like IUIC that prides themselves on being men of valor and honor right in order, but they'll let something like this happen and go on in their camp, all in the name of knowing who they are, and embracing their heritage. But at the end of the day, what's sad about this is that they're denying Christ, the biblical gospel, also.
Meaning the white man. They're denying the white man. Christ is white to them. They do call it the name of Christ. They say, "Who's the king?" Christ. So you can't get on them about that.
Or worshiping of self, and honestly, the worshiping of Nate. That's just what this is. They will take care.
Here's Nate worshiping of Nathaniel of God, General Nathaniel of God. You see it, watch the Passover they did a month ago, month and change. This man is the greatest man. The Lord's dealing with him. He's Peter. He's either Peter or Elijah, which is contrary to what was taught at Womb West.
Care of Nate, but they won't take care of Womb, and that's it's sad. It's really sick.
Well, of course, according to Asaph, who's responded a number of times to Bree's interviews, there's no man on the planet who has opened up the Bible and taught it to the capacity that the bishop has. So you got to take care of that man. He's a special treasure. You know?
I think they said he was Elijah or Peter, something like that. They weren't sure.
Yeah, that was recent. They said we're not sure whether he's either Peter or Elijah. So that's man worship.
It's like
We're not
celebrity
sure.
shop.
We know he's somebody special.
I think it's like you said, a tactic. I think it's manipulation for the sake of control. I think they encourage women to stay home and not have jobs and rely solely on their husbands and to have large families so that they rely solely on the husband. And like many other cultures, to cut off your family, your friends, and anybody who isn't in this camp. So when you try to leave, you don't really have anything or anyone else to go to. So you're pretty much stuck in your situation. And I think that's why a lot of the families who are there and would like to leave are afraid to leave. I think it's a sense of control and fear.
Yeah, unfortunately, you're right about that. So some people were asking, we'll ask this question once. You know, your prior to this discussion, and even maybe prior to the past couple of years, Alyssa, what was your relationship like with the Lord? Your understanding of Scripture? Where were you at with all this prior to this?
So prior to all of this happening, I can admit that I didn't really have a relationship with the Lord. I thought that I did when I lost my son. That was the darkest time of my life. You know, that's when I cried out to him the most. But I was still in my sin, if that makes sense. You know, I was still with this man. We weren't married. We were still fornicating. You know, and at the time I didn't see it that way. You know, I seen it as, you know, we're together, we have kids together, we live together. In my mind, we were married, so I didn't see what I was doing wrong. And even though I thought that I had a relationship with God, I honestly can't tell you the last time that I picked up my Bible before all of this happened. Now I read my Bible daily. Like, I hate that I was not equipped with the knowledge to know enough to kind of stop him at the gates before he was sucked all the way in. I knew enough to, you know, save myself. You know, I knew something didn't sound right. I knew enough to pretty much keep myself afloat, but I had to sit and watch somebody that I love deeply sink. And that I blamed myself for so long because I didn't have that relationship with the Lord like I should have. I didn't. I wasn't well versed. I wasn't in the scriptures. And
one thing about these Christians, they're getting their scripture game up because of the Israelites. Now they're going into the blue letter, they're going into commentary, they're getting Bible dictionaries, they're going to Bible schools, they're actually studying the scriptures, they're looking at the scriptures that the Israelites, the brothers put out. They'll go through the scriptures, and some of them they say, "Oh my goodness, I hope this is not true." So we help them. We big these devils up. Even vocab. Vocab learned how to use the scriptures by watching us. He didn't know nothing about the scriptures.
I blamed myself. So to answer that question, I didn't. I honestly can say I didn't have a relationship. Not as good as one as I thought it at the time.
And so, you know, you're pretty young. You're turning, I think, 22.
Yes.
So, was that okay to say?
Yes.
Okay, so make sure. Now I got worried. You answered so slow, but like, and you've admitted, prior you made mistakes. Those are mistakes. You're not proud of those things. It's not how you wanted it, and you've grown and learned a lot since then. In fact, when we talked earlier, you said that one good thing, if I heard you right, that came out of this was it challenged you to open up your Bible and understand it better for yourself, get closer to the Lord yourself. And was I hearing you right on that?
Yeah, that's exactly what it did.
Your eyes are not going to be open to this book unless the Most High deals with you. Most High gives you the spirit, and the Most High is only dealing with the prophets. He's only dealing with the prophets. When I say prophets, I mean apostles, prophets, teachers, holy men of the Most High spoke as they were moved by the Holy Spirit. 2 Peter 1. There's no private interpretation. So somebody's wrong. Either Christians wrong or we're wrong. And we're definitely not wrong.
I kind of, as I was explaining to someone else, that it's like I was literally in a spiritual battle. I was being pulled in one direction, he was being pulled in another. And I was really
90%, 95% of the people that's coming on this, putting up their what you would call it, their comments is all our women. That show more proof, more evidence, more receipts that your woman is not with you, man. So a lot of you guys even in GMS, a lot of you guys, you're gonna have women and children, and when that charagma, when they institute or they introduce a charagma to you, your woman's gonna fight to get it. You're gonna tell her no. You're gonna show her the scriptures. It's gonna go on one end, out the other. She's gonna sneak down one day to some of y'all, and she's gonna go ahead and get it anyway, and get her kids to get it, and then she's gonna come home saying, "I had to go get it," and you just might beat the shit out of her. You might kill everybody, kill your whole family. You might leave her. Anything might happen, man. And some of you niggas might say, "Well, I might as well go ahead and get it too." So that's gonna be the great. All praises to Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai B'Shem L'Kakwadash for giving us this truth. And we're gonna see what's gonna happen, man. That's the game changer. The game changer is it all comes back to the MOTB, the charagma, the C hip, the M to the A to the R to the K. That's going to be the great game changer, and we'll be doing videos on it. We will, through the Mosai, the spirit of Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai, we'll be out there going, seeing it, probably interviewing people. Did you get it? Did you get it? So we're living in an exciting time.
Used for a while. I had never heard of this stuff. I had never heard any.
Let me try something. Here goes Satan. This is vocab shadow. Yes, it is fair. He has always done his best to keep a balanced view of representation. Okay. All right, brother. All right, brother Esau. Give me a second. Yeah, we're babes. Out of the mouth of babes and sucklings have thou ordained strength because of thine enemy. We're the babes. We're considered babes, insignificant. At that time, Yahweh Shai answered and said, I thank thee, O Father, Lord of heaven and earth, because thou hast hid these things from the wise and prudent, like vocab. He's considered wise and prudent because he went to a theological cemetery and have revealed them unto babes. So we're the babes, the insignificant ones. In Acts 4, was it Acts? Yeah, Acts 4, around Acts 4 and 12, it said that the disciples, which became apostles, were unlearned men. So they were considered babes. And he said, Matthew 21:16, and he said unto them, hearest thou what these say? And Yahushua saith unto them, yea, have ye never read out of the mouth of babes and sucklings, thou hast perfected praise. An instructor, Romans 2, verse 20, an instructor of the foolish, a teacher of babes. So you got to come into this. That's why it said, Paul said, you got to come in like a new creature, right? All things are new, right? So when you come into this thing, Nicodemus, St. John chapter 3, the Lord said you got to be born again. You got to come in like a baby. Everything that you learned in the past, you got to throw that away and come in as a new creature. That's why the scriptures speak about being born again, which have the form of knowledge and of the truth in the law. As newborn babe, desiring the sincere milk of the word, that ye may grow thereby. So you got to start from the beginning. What did Isaiah say? He that is drawn, weaned from the milk and drawn from the breast, who shall he teach knowledge, and whom shall he make to understand doctrine? Them that are weaned from the milk and drawn from the breast. For precept must be upon precept. And I, brethren, could not speak unto you as unto spiritual. I couldn't get deep with you, but as unto carnal, even as babes in Yahushua. So the majority of them Israelite, all of the Israelite groups, I'll go as far as say, when the great doctrine came up, they all choked on it. So they ain't ready for no deep stuff. They ain't ready for no deep. That's why they can't see the charagma. They can't see the wolf coming. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Okay, let's get ready to close this. Listen to a little bit more.
I didn't know what it was. I thought I was alone. So all I could do was open my Bible and try to find answers to the things that he was saying.
You'll never understand the scriptures because you're not a prophet. First of all, you're a woman. Even if you was a man, an Israelite man, you ain't gonna understand it unless you're a prophet. Most High will do nothing but he revealeth his secrets unto his servants, the prophets. The Apostle Paul in the book of Colossians, I believe that's Colossians 1. You can start the 19th verse, go right to the 25th, 26th verse. Speaks about the mysteries that's been hidden from ages, is now made manifest to us, the true believers.
It's like everything that I read was opposite of what he was reading, and I just couldn't understand why.
Because the Most High is not dealing with you, neither is the Most High dealing with your former man. Because he doesn't have the whole truth. He has some truth. Look, another black woman, your women are not with you, man. Pam, hopefully this allows her to fully know and understand the gospel, meaning by reading the scriptures. You cannot open up the book and just read it and get an understanding. The spirit has to be working with you. The spirit got to sup with you. What is that? Revelation 3:19.
I couldn't understand. I wasn't in the church. I didn't have a pastor. that I could go to and talk
Your pastors don't know a goddamn thing.
to. I didn't have family members that, knew anything about this. So I was in a really, really lonely state of mind, and it made me feel like I was losing myself. So yeah, it definitely made me open my Bible. That's the one thing that I can say was the best thing that came from this.
You might as well get a book written in Cantonese and read that.
Well, you're not alone. On Facebook, we have Joy watching, and she says, "Honey, you're literally telling my story. You are not." I think that's one reason you wanted to come out and talk about this.
98%, I would say, 99% of the people that's on this, that's putting up these comments, are your woman. Your woman is not, your woman, they're not with you, man. Your women are not with you. They're not with you.
Even though you have to put, we all do, our own faults and flaws on display for people to see and judge and then be misjudged and mislabeled, which they're of course going to do. They'll pick this interview apart, take little parts, give their commentary, and basically make their followers think that you're the worst person ever besides Brittany. That's what they're getting. Well, besides me too. But you get that. You know this. But there's people who hear this and are like, oh. And there are men too. It's not just women. But there's a lot of women who are afraid to come out. There's also a lot of men who are very come out as well. And so I just encourage you to chat, hearing you story here. So guys, I pray that if you're a believer out there, yes, keep breathing prayer as she grows in Christ. She works through this, and also Alyssa. She's the one who we're really trying to hear her story here today. Sonia says, "Sis, I'm proud of you, both speaking up. I too married the one that was forced to leave the home we both purchased together. We've been separated 3 months now because I had stopped attending the school." Look at that. Look at that. Imagine that. You stop attending school, and they'll act like they don't do that kind of thing. They do control marriages and get into your business that way, don't they, Bree?
They certainly do.
But they'll let IUIC tell it, and they'll say they don't.
There are things IUIC know about my marriage, but I don't know about my marriage.
Yeah. Well, it's tough. Des, have you got much into this side? I know you've dealt with a lot of the guys on the street. I know you've dealt. Have you, in all your expertise in doing IUIC, have you done much on the family side?
Oh man, not as much. I will say though, when we went out there last summer and we've seen
One member of the IUIC even cut off his own twin brother.
a couple of the guys, they didn't join IUIC yet, but they were already bought in. Like they were already bought in. I guess they had watched a couple videos and they're ready to join. And praise God for Elder Mike Holloway when he said, we caught you on the right day, to stop you from at least trying to enter the school today to get indoctrinated with this nonsense. So I haven't gotten to the family side of it, but there are sisters there, and we just pray that they have enough courage to leave this cult, and we pray for the husbands as well, because they're in darkness right now, they're in some false doctrine, but God can deliver them, and this is why we do what we do.
Amen. A shout out to Brandon. Brandon, I know you asked earlier. My bad, I didn't get to it. A lot going on in this live chat, but I did get your super chat, Brandon. Thank you, as well as your Charles Spurgeon comment, which I appreciated. Here's a gentleman who came out of the ICGJC. He was high. He said, "Definitely happy to see another spirit free from the bonds of false doctrine. Praise the Lord, King."
Well, that's a wackadoo organization anyway. That Did he say the ICGJC? Let me see something. Okay, that's the dude that used to read for uh Tazadak, the Ephraimite looking dude. He's actually a Semonite. Definitely happy to see another spirit free from the bonds of a predominantly false doctrine. Praise the Holy King. A lot of men are scared because it's their security blanket. Y'all know who I'm talking about. He even kept his name, Saint Ivan the Terrible. The brother that used to always read for most of the time, light skinned, heavy set, tall, Ephraimite looking brother, but he's Simeon.
He was high up in those. He said, definitely happy to see another spirit free from the bonds of predominant false doctrine. Praise the Lord King. A lot of men are scared because it's their security blanket. So shout out. Chill says IOIC blocks false teachers. What are we doing there?
Like, look, this fucking 100% of the people on here are all Jakes. Question: do both of these brave women now have a church home that they support them, that supports them?
Alyssa, about trying to find you a church home. Someone asked, let's get an update on your walk with Christ and what you're trying to do.
Yeah, that look of, I ain't going to no fucking wacky ass church either. Let's see what she says.
So I'm not a part of a church home right now. This whole thing kind of really freaks me out when it comes to, the false teaching. Because I feel like a lot of times when it comes to the church, it's more testimony. It's more so them pretty much giving a motivational speech and speaking one or two verses versus actually teaching us as far as the Bible. So I'm trying to find a really good Bible-based church home that actually teaches the scriptures and not necessarily so much from experience. But
she's saying that most of the churches don't teach the Bible. It's just a Sunday morning gathering, praise break, and testimonies. And in other words, she's saying you ain't gonna learn nothing in the church.
definitely, I do
More,
find
so you're looking for more solid doctrine of
Right.
type church.
Right. So yeah, like sound doctrine, not not the craziness. But yeah,
She's talking about the church. So she knows that if she goes to your local church, there's nothing but craziness up in there. So she's stuck between a rock and a hard place.
I'm in the process of trying to find somewhere that feels like home, and I don't have friends. I don't have a lot of family here, so I don't really have a lot of resources on how to find good ones. But I'm trying around. So
well, we're gonna work with you on that. I know there's some other folks who are working, and because they
Apostle Paul said, 2 Corinthians, if our gospel be hid, it is hid to them that are lost, in whom the God of this world, he's the God of this world, have blinded them.
Behind the scenes. So I pray that comes to fruition. Brandon Gandara says, my girl literally kicked me out because I disagree with her on the same boat right now. I live in Odessa, Texas, and she lives by Lubbock. There's a camp there. So I know IUIC opened up a camp in what's called the Panhandle area of Texas. It looks like they're positively, let me not be sarcastic, let me just say what I mean, not be sarcastic, because it's going to be sarcastic. They're obviously negatively impacting marriages and relationships as well. So it's like, you guys have had struggles and challenges in your relationship, but you're starting to come to a place, from what I understand, you really wanted to get married, but everything wasn't worked out. But it's like IUIC came along and made it much more difficult. to do that because it's like a I don't know, like a precondition for you to be in IUIC for your relationship to work. Because they might say, oh, what he doesn't say is we encouraged him to marry her. They might say that when they do this interview. Do you want to speak to that as far as the marriage question and how IUIC's role is in that?
As far as my situation?
Yeah, because I know that you know, if it's like they tried to force him to do it, but then obviously there's the problem of IUIC being open for marriage if you were going to get married. I mean, you're kind of in a complicated situation with that, I think.
Yeah. So what happened was after months of him not doing anything for our children and not seeing our kids, he started back coming around. And during that time, when he started back coming around, me and him fornicated. I'm just gonna be completely honest with you. And he went and he said that he couldn't grow in the congregation without telling them the truth. So I definitely, I sided with him on that. And at the time,
so we commend him for that. You know, you're lost, which is not easy on the internet, but thank you. Go ahead.
If you have the act of sex, that's marriage. Let me give you a preset real quick. The wife just means is Hebrew, Ayasha, which means woman. Give me a second. Try it this way. I know it's in Genesis, but okay. Genesis 24, verse 67. Let me come up above this. Back in the ancient world, you had prearranged marriages, and it's going to be that way in the kingdom too. And we're going to be getting them young. As soon as they hit puberty, that's when you're going to be looking at them. 12, 13 years old. It says Genesis 24, verse 63, and Isaac went out to meditate in the field at the eventide, and he lifted up his eyes and saw, and behold, the camels were coming. And Rebekah lifted up her eyes, and when she saw Isaac, she lighted off of the camel. She got off of the camel. But she had said unto the servant, what man is this that walketh in the field to meet us? And the servant said, it is my master. Therefore she took a veil and covered herself. Now, if you go to history, JJs, the women, when they get married, they shave their head bald and they put wigs on. I used to pick them up all the time. You can see that they're wearing wigs. And that goes back to this tradition that she put a veil, that she said, therefore she took a veil and covered herself. So they made this traditional thing of shaving their head bald and putting a wig on them. That's the veil that they put on there. Therefore she took a veil and covered herself. So that has nothing to do with what they're doing. And the servant told Isaac all these things that he had done. And Isaac they already arranged a marriage. She got off the camel. She put the veil over her head. He took her into the tent. He popped her immediately, and they became what? Sarah became the wife of Isaac. So that's when you're married. So how can that be fornication? Fornication is adultery. And Isaac brought her into his mother's Sarah's tent and took Rebekah, and she became his wife, whether she liked it or not. And he loved her, and Isaac was comforted after his mother's death. He got over his depression. Let's look up that word took. Okay, let's look up the word took. I was almost sure it was laquach, which means to take by force. To take, get, fetch, lay hold, or seize, right? Receive, require, buy, bring, marry, take a wife. Isaac and Rebekah's son, Jacob, second son, got Rachel and Leah paid for them. There was a deal between Jacob and Laban, and Laban's two daughters was Rachel and Leah. So he works 14 years to get both of them. He just wanted one of them, but the Spirit worked it out where he got both of them, plus he got another two. So having more than one wife is natural in the law of the Most High. To capture, to seize. So if she was like, what are you doing, sir? What are you doing? He just grabbed her, pulled in the tent, popped her, and they were in love. And she never committed adultery against Isaac. And Abraham had more than one woman. They had concubines, they had handmaids. And if you had a handmaid, Israelite woman or Hebrew woman had a handmaid, that was your personal slave, even to the point where you told your slave, go and lay down with my husband so you can have a kid, and that kid that produced that child, that's my kid. There's a movie called The Handmaid's Tale. You got to watch the one in the 90s. I didn't watch the newest one, but they read from the scriptures in Genesis. Handmaid. Let's look that up. Handmaid. So we are fucked up people, man. I don't know if that's one word. Okay, handmade. Let me do this. Let me see what comes up if I put it as one word. A compound word. Let's see if it comes up. Wow, it comes up more times. Now Sarai, Abraham's wife, bare him no children, and she had an handmaid, an Egyptian, whose name was Hagar. So he said, look, you're going to go lay with my husband, and whatever produced out of that is my son. But she regretted that because it really wasn't her son. She wanted to feel that that came out of my body. So let's look up the word handmaid. Handmaid. Shapaka is a word. Maid, maid servant, slave girl, maid, maid servant, as belonging to a mistress, a woman that's a master over another woman, is a mistress of address, speaker, humility, feminine form, and unused root, meaning to spread out. A female slave as a member of the household. So guess what? We're gonna have all of them are gonna be our slaves. All of them is gonna be up under us, and we're gonna have concubines too. Handmaid, maid, maid servant, bond woman, maiden, woman servant, handmaid, servant, wench. In them slave movies, Esau said, well, get that black wench. I'm going to deal with that wench. Wench is another old crack of English, I would say, that means a slave woman that you would pop, you would have children with. So you're from a different world, from the ancient world. That's why these women couldn't see it, because they've been so messed up in the head by being under this man. So that's why the Most High's got to get rid of them. Let me see something. Okay, Isaiah. Oh, look at that. Isaiah 14. This is what I wanted. Isaiah 14, future prophecy. And the people shall take them and bring them to their place. And the house of Yasha'Allah shall possess them, the other nations. Number one on the list is Esau. And the land of Yahweh, which is Israel. For what? For servants and handmaids, women slaves and men slaves. And they shall take them captives, whose captives they were, and they shall rule over their oppressors. Who's oppressing us right now? Esau. Moabites ain't oppressing us. They're in their land. Ammonites, Egyptians, they ain't oppressing us. Ain't no black Egyptian taskmasters making us build shit up. The ones that's oppressing us are the Edomites, Esau. What about if a Jacob pulls you over? Well, that Jacob is fulfilling the laws of Esau. This is Esau's system. So they had slavery back then. You had concubines back there. You had maid servants or handmaids back then. So these women right here, they don't know. That's why the Most High's got to kill them or bring them back to their husbands, be reconciled with their husband. 1 Corinthians 7. But I see why the Most High. I'll tell you a little bit story. I'm gonna get ready to close. Ariel used to tell me the story all the time. He said when he was young, Abba, Bivens, Elijah, John the Baptist, he used to say, like, he can't wait till the Most High get rid of these 2/3, these niggas that can't wake up. And Ariel said, I couldn't see that, I didn't have the heart like that. But then after he grew up, he said, I can see it. He said, I could make sense. He said, I can see why Abba said what he said. They got to be taken out. Most I ain't gonna bring no clown ass niggas up into the ships to go into the kingdom. They're gonna get it on this side. They're gonna get it on this side. The scripture said we're gonna rule with a rod of iron. So, this is gonna be a tyrannical kingdom. The saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom and possess it for you. Take. Anyway, with that, I'm gonna say shalom.